Good evening from, wait, I almost said London then, from Wales, wrestling fans. I'm your host, Ben Allison, and I seemingly still can't tell where I am in the world. But today it's Mailbag Monday, and we're going to be answering the questions which you guys have submitted via our Instagram stories. It's going to be a fun one, as always on a Monday. We'll be predicting the Elimination Chamber matches and more. And before I do get into it, I need to introduce today's panel. Firstly, all the way from Canada, we have the head of reviewing here at Wrestling Republic. How are you today, Coby?
Oh, I am doing pretty good, of course, because it was a very fun Rumble as a whole. And of course, I was here speaking on that yesterday. And I'm glad to be back. Of course, we have some things happening outside of Wrestling Republic, and I guess I got to step up and do some more shows. But I'm here. I'm ready to have a good time. And of course, talking wrestling is always a good thing to do.
Absolutely. I mean, we got people at the Rumble, we got people giving birth. It's absolutely hectic here at the minute at Wrestling Republic. We got quite a few comments. Shout out to you, Melissa. Shout out to Numero 1 Superfly as well. I make pizzas evening, Ben, from London, apparently. I'm too used to living there before. It's now it's in my head again. KFKSK says, hey, hello to you as well. And it is indeed WrestleJania season. But also joining us today from Scotland, we have Soul. And Soul, I can see you're wearing a very interesting t-shirt there, a Jey Uso shirt.
This is simply just to make people moan and complain, because that's what they like to do. It is to make all you salty crybabies tears of joys, and then we can use that salt for the industry that is in food or whatever, because it'll be a good financing support there. Nonetheless, it's a good day. Raw's tonight, obviously, the Royal Rumble winners will be on there, which will obviously kind of counteract into our first topic here. So let's get that mailbag open, boys.
Absolutely. Let's crack it open and open some letters, because we do have some mail. In Ring Wrestling, shout out to you. Fernando, shout out to you as well. And without further ado, let's predict the Elimination Chamber matches, because this question is from It's Not Free Time, It's G Time. Hell of a username, actually. I hadn't actually read that out earlier when I put it down. But he is asking for our Elimination Chamber booking for both the men and the women. And I'll start right. For the women's, I'm predicting it's going to be Nia Jax versus Bayley versus Io Sky versus Bianca Belair versus Naomi versus a surprise. And the surprise is a returning Becky Lynch, who I do believe is going to win this year's Elimination Chamber match and face Rhea Ripley. To clarify, 3 from Raw, 3 from SmackDown, winner facing Rhea Ripley. Then on the Raw, not on the Raw side, on the men's side, I am predicting Drew McIntyre versus CM Punk versus Seth Rollins, all from Monday Night Raw, versus from SmackDown, Roman Reigns, John Cena doesn't have a brand, but we'll say he's from SmackDown, and a returning Randy Orton, who I predict is going to win. And there we are, Cody versus Randy. Soul, I know you disagree with me, but that is still my prediction for WrestleMania. I'll actually head to you first on this one. What are your chamber matches?
Yeah, but Allison, your prediction rate is not really the best. No offense, but the facts stay remains.
The audacity.
They're bad. I'm sorry, brother. The prediction rate ain't good. But for me, my assumption is Royal Rumble winners is Jay's going after Gunther and Charlotte's going after Tiffany Stratton. That's my assumption. That's what I believe it will be. So for the men's Royal Rumble, Cena, Punk, Roman, Seth, McIntyre, and Damian Priest is my picks for the Elimination Chamber.
Interesting.
Who I think will win that? Genuinely, I think it will be John Cena. I really think John Cena will win the Elimination Chamber, because Cody's Cody's showing some odd tendencies right now. And you think back to that promo with Punk on Raw. He said, day 300, I started to snap under the pressure. What was the day of Royal Rumble for Cody's title reign? 300. And what did he do? He looked like he was a bit snapping there. So lines up all the way. I'm just saying, Cody versus...
That's nuts. Did you work that out?
Yes, I'm very good. I actually do my
research.
research.
Fair play. That's a great stat.
Thank you. I do my research. if you look at WrestleMania, the biggest babyface in the company's history versus the biggest modern day babyface will be a very interesting dynamic, and I think one of them's going to snap. Whether it's they lose the title or they gain the title by nefarious means, somebody's going to snap at the end of WrestleMania 41. Cena or Cody, that's the deciding factor there. The women's, obviously they'll face Rhea Ripley, so I think it's going to be Alexa Bliss, Liv Morgan, Raquel Rodriguez is going to be in there to try and help Liv, but shenanigans will get in the way. I also think Naomi will be in there. I think also as well they might, put Roxanne Perez in there as well.
Ooh.
And finally, I think in there will be Jordan Grace.
Wow. Debut in the chamber.
I think if you look at what the Rumble was, they put a shine on a lot of the talent. Now, of course, Julia did eliminate Jordan Grace, so there's possible that there could be an NXT feud. And if it is that, fair play. But who I think should win the Rumble, I think it should be you know what? I know I said the NXT thing, but I would love it to be Jordan Grace, just to show that they can put the rocket to somebody in the women's division like they do the men's, like with Penta getting the #1 in the Royal Rumble and all that they've done there. If they do it for the women, I think that'd be absolutely amazing. And for somebody like Jordan Grace, who has the experience of NXT, who's been in the TNA for so long and done so many accolades there, ultimately debut in the WWE, do well in the Rumble, win a chamber, and then go to a WrestleMania program with Rhea Ripley, I think that would be quite a program to see.
It absolutely would be. And Rhea Ripley and Jordan Grace in the same ring, 1-on-1. That would be nuts. I'd love to see it. And Kafka's K-Soul is agreeing with you. He is saying Cena will win and face Cody. I opposed that previously, right? But the reason I opposed it was because I was so terrified. And maybe I'm thinking back to the Vince days, right? But I was so terrified we were going to have babyface Super Cena versus babyface Super Cody. And everybody's going to shake hands and it's going to be a really happy WrestleMania. I don't want that. But if they do what you're saying and one of them, it's like who's going to turn to the dark side? I would quite like that. Fernando is saying night 1, Roman versus Seth versus Punk. Winner gets Cody. Night 2. That would be fascinating. I mean, again, we're snubbing Drew. Drew is more crucial to that storyline than anybody. And if he gets left out of it, I mean, Soul, I'm not even fully Scottish. I'm only half Scottish, and I'd be fuming. I can't imagine how you'll feel if Drew gets snubbed.
Fine. I mean, look, here's the thing, right? Drew McIntyre, yes, the whole feud with Punk and all that, and I enjoy it. But from that standpoint, like, he's just failed and failed and failed.
Until he wins.
Oh yeah, after 60 multiple attempts. It's not like an exam. You can't
He beats them all at once at Mania. He beats Roman, Seth, and Punk at WrestleMania. That is the perfect end.
Well,
I don't think.
But that's not what we're gonna have.
That's not what
we're not
finally
gonna have
beats
an end
them
at
all.
WrestleMania.
Here's the thing,
it's
right?
It's not going to be an end of a story at WrestleMania.
If you look at the Rumble, right? Drew, minus a stare down with Roman, had no real interaction with the other ones, right? He got eliminated and he just walked away. When Punk, Roman, and Seth all got eliminated, they all interacted. There was curb stomps, there was swearing, there was pointing, there was shouting. I have more of a thought that those three will be in a program. For Drew, honestly, I don't know what you do with Drew. Because I understand you say put him in with those 3 caliber superstars, and you could. But if you do, I look at him and be like, oh, he's the fall guy. He's the guy that's going to take a pin.
Winning.
So the other,
he's
no,
winning.
I don't think
it's
he is.
His moment.
It's not his moment.
He'll finally beat them all at once.
But that's not the story they're telling.
That's not the story they're telling, though.
I think it is.
Priest eliminated them. If anything, Priest has the bigger story. They might redo Priest and Drew. And they might They might put a stipulation on it, like, oh, falls count anywhere, or oh, hardcore match, or whatever. I don't think Drew is going to factor into either the main event plans of WrestleMania or in the factoring to the main event stars of WrestleMania. He'll do something.
I think this is the time Drew deserves that moment. But this is what I will say on it, though. Right, to your point,
quickly there. Just because you deserve it doesn't mean you'll get it.
No, that's also true, right? That is true. But to your earlier point, Soul, you are right. Obviously, he wasn't involved in that. But I think the scruffle on the outside after it. But here's the thing: it's a long road to WrestleMania, and I think we're not going to wait very long. I think Drew's going to come out tonight, and he's going to be fuming at the fact that they're all brawling and they're all angry and all this at each other, and he's saying, "Hang on, what about me?" Because just like Half Day's case says, Drew is the glue that holds them together.
Hold it there, Sonny.
Even if you look at Drew's motives, Drew just didn't want Roman Reigns to win the match. He didn't want CM Punk to win that match. And he doesn't want Rollins
to win that match, so he's going to have to win it instead.
He didn't want Rollins to win that match, but he wanted Rollins to finally acknowledge his hatred of Roman Reigns. And that is what happened. That means, like, he has importance to it, but he also doesn't at the same time.
So he
is technically satisfied with the Rumble win because it's someone he can.
Because he doesn't want any of them to even get a win on the WrestleMania card.
Hang on there. To quickly add there, why would McIntyre be more mad at Punk, Rollins, and Seth than Damian Priest? Damian Priest is the man who cost him the Royal Rumble. The opportunity
because he didn't want to win the Royal Rumble. He wanted just for them to not win it, to Coby's point.
Why would anyone enter
and
it?
Why would win it? So why is he going to be mad that they're brawling?
Because he doesn't want to stop until all those three guys are out of the company.
If anything, Drew McIntyre,
he's going to let them tear each other apart.
Hang on. If anything, by that logic of what happened within the Rumble, Drew McIntyre should team up in a tag team with Logan Paul, because he'd be happy with Logan Paul with what he did, eliminating Punk and Cost and all that. He'd be like, Logan Paul, I like you. You're a good streamer. I even like Prime. It's the best drink in the entire universe. I'm going to tag with you, and we're going to be a killer tag team.
Iron Brew.
Like,
goes Prime.
That's the thing there. I think Drew's going to do a program with McIntyre's going to do a program with Damian Priest. It'll have a stipulation on it because WrestleMania does need a big stipulation match most of the time, so it gets that big bump. And obviously, Manias are pretty long, so it'll be a match that people can get rejuvenated back in. And honestly, I think Priest will probably win it, unless they want to have McIntyre win at Mania to then do a program done with Priest down the line. But then again, I don't know. I don't think McIntyre factors into Punk, Rollins, or Reigns. We've kind of covered the second topic, so sorry, Coby, your topic has been taken over and hijacked.
No, we're gonna get back to that. Don't worry. We're gonna we'll loop back round to it in a minute. Don't worry. But Coby, first of all, what is your prediction for the Chambers?
For the Chambers, of course, I have the similar sentiment that we've already kind of said. It's kind of obvious that Charlotte and Tiffany Stratton's going to be the move in that sense. Jey Uso's going for Gunther. That's the story that makes sense. We've seen over the last year, we've seen Jey Uso follow time and time again to Gunther. That's the story. They have 2.5 months to tell, and I for 2.5 months, I think they're going to be fine with giving us a story and giving us a reason why Jey versus Gunther is a WrestleMania match. And I think they're fine with that. Regarding the women's chamber, I'll start. I think it's going to be Io Sky, Bianca Belair, Naomi, Nia Jax, Alexa Bliss, and of course, Becky Lynch, because I think they need someone who isn't. I think this is the first time in a while where we're going to have like, okay, this chamber, really anyone can win. Because there's not really a guaranteed thing. Last year we had that whole kickoff event, and then it was like, oh yeah, well they had a segment with Rhea Ripley and Becky Lynch. I wonder who's winning the chamber.
It was obvious.
It was obvious at that point, and I don't think as much as they are having a kickoff for WrestleMania 41, I think in a week or two. I don't necessarily think we're going to get like a big segment like that. I think we can kind of roll with multiple contenders. And then the men's chamber, I think we're going to see, of course, that entire Seth Punk Roman issue. And I think they're going to have John Cena because John Cena's already entered the Royal Rumble. Or not the Royal Rumble. He's entered the Royal Rumble and lost the Royal Rumble. He's entering the Elimination
He enters
chamber.
Everything. No qualifiers even.
He doesn't have to qualify. He's John frickin' Cena. And then I think the other two are going to be Drew and Damian Priest. I think that's kind of a feud that genuinely might just happen and give Drew a win at that point. I think that's kind of what we're expecting. I actually could see Damian win, and then they can kind of do a mini Damian Cody feud after WrestleMania if that's the move. But like I think that there's at least some stuff that can be worked with there. But I do think it's Cena winning. It has to be Cena winning.
Really?
There's no other marquee match you have.
So am I the only one then, Q, who doesn't think it's Cena
No,
Cody?
Ben, this is what makes no sense. It makes no sense for Randy Orton to return and not go for Kevin Owens.
Well, I'll tell you why it does
That's
make sense
why.
for that.
That's where. I mean, if he turns heel and goes, "Oh,
Sammy,"
he's gonna.
So the fact that the plan to me, it's clear as day. The plan for Mania is Kevin and Sammy. So that tells me, okay, yeah, he's gonna return and he's gonna blame Cody for not saving him.
Not at WrestleMania because it makes no. Unless you
Cody's the reason he got hurt. Cody could have saved him and he didn't save him.
Cody could have saved that.
He could have. He magically was available to come out and save him after he was hurt, not during an 8-minute attack.
I don't agree. No offense, Allison. I don't agree with that prediction 100 at all.
I think it's more likely than Cena Cody, even though I think that could happen.
The fact of the matter is I think we're in, like, I call it the logic era. Things make sense. You're not going to have Randy Orton return and go, wow, he's not going to ignore the fact that Cody didn't save him. But he's not going to go, oh, yeah, I'm not going to go after Kevin Owens, the guy that almost broke my neck again. Like, that makes no sense to me. Which is why I could almost see Kevin and Sammy being Chamber and then Randy and Kevin being Mania. Because I think that's still a match that has to happen first.
At what, Mania or Elimination Chamber?
I think you can do if there's a late transfer, you could do Sammy Nakamura. You could do Sammy you could do Sammy Braun Breaker again.
You
could do Sammy and Drew because there's a story there. Sammy's never beaten.
That would make more sense than that.
And then you really still could go either way.
If I had the book,
streak, or Sami Zayn finally overcomes. There's so many puzzles.
Here's what I would do. Like if I had the whole thing right, Elimination Chamber, I would do Sami Zayn versus Cody Rhodes for the WWE Championship. And this is the reason why. You look at the Rumble, and Cody Rhodes was being that egotistical, standing up to 2 titles over Kevin Owens' lifeless body without a head because he looked like he didn't have a head at that point, and just showboating. Right? Sami Zayn looked distraught. He didn't even go and interrupt Cody when he was climbing up the ladder. He just looked distraught. I can imagine a thing on Raw. Cody comes out and says, it was a tough battle, but I retained the championship. Sami Zayn interrupts him and then says, that wasn't sportsmanship. That wasn't a leader. That was barbaric, what you did. And I'm going to, for my brother, someone who I've gone through for this business for multiple years, I'm going to avenge him and I want to take the title off you because it's corrupting you. So Elimination Chamber, it's Sami Zayn versus Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes then defeats Sami Zayn and continues to showboat afterwards, screams in his face, and then walks off. Cena wins the Chamber, and you do Cena and Cody at WrestleMania.
I'd love that. That's brilliant.
It has to be Cena and Cody at this point.
But I don't think it's going to happen. But I hope I'm wrong. I hope you guys are right. Because
I don't think it's not going to happen.
We didn't think Jey Uso was going to win the Royal Rumble, and here we are.
Well, we didn't. No, that's the thing. We didn't. So I'm not saying Cena Cody won't happen, but I still think Orton Cena's more like Orton Cody's more likely because I do think we're eventually getting to Orton Cena. But Mr. Ringsider is saying, I just want to tell you guys, I love the daily and the post as well. It's amazing. Thank you so much. We really do appreciate that. Cult_Piff says Cody versus John Cena. And I mean, listen, it seems like you guys, everybody's agreeing on that one there. Fernando saying Randy will return at Mania. I mean, this is a kayfabe injury as far no way are they keeping him out for this long. That's what I'm thinking is there's no, like, it makes no, like I said, it makes no sense for Randy Orton to return and not go for Kevin Owens. So I almost think Randy and KO is a Mania match. And I think KO and Sammy could be Chamber. I know it's the Logic era right now, right? That's what everybody's calling it. And I think that is an appropriate name for it. But here is the thing. At the same time, it is classic Orton, if you look at his career, to come back and blame somebody else and take them out and suddenly turn for no reason. He has done it over and over and over again, and you can say it's Vince, and it is Vince, but you can also say it's inconsistent with his character. I can see it. I'm sticking by it. And Numero One agrees. Numero One agrees, but Numero One also has a bad prediction record. So
I know we have to move on. So I'm going to
bury the comments, Ben. Bury the comments.
I know we have to move on, so I'm going to quickly wrap this up. I would save Randy Orton's heel turn for later down the line. Say if my thing's going correct and Cena wins the belt off Cody and Cody continues his spiraling down, right? I would have Cena come out and be like, I'm continuing this final run, open challenge. Randy Orton comes out and says, "Oh, Cena, you're a legend of this business. You've done so much, but I'm a legend killer," and it RKO's him, and you set up SummerSlam Randy Orton versus John Cena. That's a big marquee match you could do for SummerSlam.
It would be. I actually got another short little theory regarding it, but I think since we're talking about like the entire story around Cody Rhodes and the fact that we genuinely have a story a part of his reign now, where you can see him cracking and you can see him becoming this smug version of himself. I would not be opposed to Cody Rhodes being the one to do Cody Rhodes being the one to turn on Randy Orton first.
I would have agreed with you if it wasn't for Cena's retirement tour.
Then you can say, pardon?
I would have agreed if it wasn't for Cena's retirement tour. That's why that is my big prediction. What you just mentioned a minute ago, Sol. But I think that Randy's going to come back as a heel, win the title off Cody, and then at SummerSlam or down the line when they rebuild Cena back up after he loses all the way until Mania, beats Logan then. And then I think at SummerSlam or around that time somewhere, it's going to be Cena versus Orton. And yeah, I think that's going to be when they bring, they do that match. Maybe Orton even vacates the title before the match. And then that way, then it would be, that would be so stupid. That is so Vince.
But so dumb.
I know it would be. That is so Vince, but I can still see them doing it. Just be like, vacate it before the match so they can crown the 17-time one. But anyway, let's quickly
go. Is Randy Orton at 14 or 15? Is he at 14?
Is it? Oh, no, I think you're right. I think it's still 14.
I think he's at 14.
No, I think you are right.
Allison, your predictions are crumbling right before you stop.
Oh, no. Well, maybe him and Cody play hot potato after WrestleMania. Hopefully not. But listen, I don't know. It's so unpredictable nowadays. We are in the logic era, but also the unpredictable era. But this next question, we basically covered it, is will Punk, Seth, and Roman stories all interact with each other? I mean, Coby, surely McIntyre is just... surely he deserves to be in this as a four-way. Surely he does.
The thing is I don't disagree with that sentiment, but I don't necessarily think that's the direction they're going. I do think Drew can do other things. If it's a Sami Zayn match, it's a Sami Zayn match. If it's Damian Priest, it's Damian Priest. I think the thing is you have so many things that we're already trying to weave together. You got Roman Reigns being betrayed by CM Punk. You have Seth's hatred of Roman Reigns finally coming out with that double foot stomp, not single foot, double foot stomp to the face.
Brutal.
And then the stomp on the steps as well. You have the hatred between Seth and Punk. There's a lot of hatred between that. And I think Drew, while we're in an era that could support it and could develop a four-way storyline that makes sense, I do think it still kind of could mucky it. But yes, I 100% believe in this regime over the last regime to do this.
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely. Oh, there's no denying that. They've proved that, despite what some people might say online. Numero One says that he thinks it's a four-way as well. Yeah, I do back you on that.
The other one I could see Roman versus Seth. And then we've kind of mentioned him, and we really don't know where he goes if it's not Cena. But I do think, I mean, it can't be a coincidence that CM Punk uses Logan as a way to dig at Kevin Owens. Logan basically goes, not yet.
Please,
and then Logan Paul eliminates CM Punk. I think Punk and Logan could be a move.
Oh, no.
I'm not necessarily saying I'd like it. I'm not necessarily saying I'd like it. But
he's going to Uber Eats that bakery. He's going to Uber Eats Mindy's or whatever and do another press rant if we do that. And he even uses Hangman's Lariat as well. You can't have that happen. It's a recipe for disaster. Kafka's says, where does Solo fit in? I think an 8-man tag, all-star tag on SmackDown. Not on SmackDown. A feud over on SmackDown, and it's going to be an 8-man tag as a way to get the likes of LA Knight, Braun Strowman, Andrade, and there was another name as well I've written down. I think that's what they're going to do.
Nah, Andre Battle Royale Morale, or whatever that is. He'll be in the Andre Battle Royale.
Nah, because they're going to want Jacob Fatu on
I
it too,
don't-
aren't they? That's why I think the 8th man to get quite a few people on. It's a bit dumb. It's a bit lazy, but I think that's the plan.
The thing. Well, I mean, the entire thing is how do you bring him back? Because you've kind of had him walk out, and now Fatu's running roughshod. Fatu and Tomatonga think they're running SmackDown. Like, there's a lot of things that make sense. I don't even know if Solo is a part of Mania at this point, even though it is 2.5 months. He could.
Jacob Fatu
He very well should
You
be
just
back.
done.
But I don't know. I don't know when it makes sense, because I almost the thing is the second I think he returns is when Jacob pulls the trigger.
Mm.
And I think that's the storyline that's going to happen, is we're going to get Jacob running roughshod. You know, it's going to be the same thing Solo said at the beginning. There's consequences for losing. Well, Solo, you lost tribal combat. Jacob's going to be the one to pull the trigger.
Oh, the thing I wish if they did that.
That's the storyline I expect when it happens.
Solo Nakamura, heel versus heel. Don't like that. Maybe I could see them
if
doing
it's a
it, but I don't want it.
Honestly, if it's a multi, I would think it'd be like Nakamura, Priest, and Jacob, if anything.
If we just write off Solo.
To be fair, I got excited with Damien
Priest,
and Jacob.
That's the other one. Priest, I think he's going to be an 8-man too. But now let's move on to talk about some video games, in the words of Lana Del Rey, because this question is from @just.apart over on Instagram, who says, rank your top 5 wrestling video games. Soul, what are yours?
Okay, so clarify for the record, I've not played a lot. Okay, so I've not played any of the early SmackDown stuff.
I thought you were the expert.
In modern gaming, yes, but it's wrestling games I haven't played a general lot of. So, number 5 is going to annoy a lot of people. I'm putting AEW Fight Forever. Look, I know AEW Fight Forever is a bad game on a lot of aspects, from the item shop, the currency that means nothing, not full entrances, but obviously it's not trying to be what the 2K games are. It's trying to be something different. I like the inclusion of the jukebox. I like the wrestler roster. I like the Beat the Elite mode. I like the casino gauntlet match they have. I like the exploding barbed wire. So there's a lot of it I like. I played it for a good while. Even Stadium Stampede was just something quite unique to wrestling games. I enjoy it for what it was. Number 4 for me personally is WWE 2K15. Yes, I know a lot of people also don't like this game, but I put a lot of hours into it. I bought this solely because it was the last game CM Punk was in when I was a big CM Punk fan. So I played the absolute hell out of this. I love the universe mode in it, making a lot of early day WWE was very interesting, and to see where people were then to now, I like it. Number 3 is WWE 2K22, a good relaunch for the 2K series after the absolute disaster that was 2K20. Really enjoy the inclusion of the GM mode in that, and the universe mode was pretty solid as well. Even community creations was pretty good. Number 2 is 2K23. Obviously, I love the showcase mode with John Cena. That mode was very, very enticing and very enjoyable. The upgrades to GM mode were always appreciated as well. The community creations in that were very, very good. Number 1 is the first wrestling game I actually ever played. I've put over 350 hours into it. I love this game. I love the universe mode. I love everything about it. The controls, I love. The roster is amazing. It's WWE 2K19. 2K19 is the best WWE game, simply because in modern video games, a game has to work, and it works. The creativity of it with the big head mode, getting the golden AJ, the showcase mode is solid as well. The community creations were very, very, very good, and the vastness of it as well. The arenas were good. The theming in the music was good as well. The roster, as I said before, was superb. This was obviously before WWE did the mass roster cut, so you have a lot in there, as well the vast amount of legends as well. WWE 2K19 is the best WWE game and the best wrestling game altogether.
Wow, a big shout. I agree with I make beats. I think 2K24 is enjoyable, minus the fact community creations lose their hair every other minute.
I hate it. I hate it. It's the worst for me. I hate 2K24.
It's not worse than 20. It's not worse than 20.
Yeah, 20 is bugged than anything to the high heavens. But 2K24, I hate it because I like universe mode. Universe mode is what I play all the time. I like to create my own things, where it's my own TNA, my own AEW, my own British scene. And the fact I can't download the wrestlers in 2K24 without images going into other things like arenas or maps or
no, you're right. You are right, actually.
it destroys what I like. I know some people really, really like it. I think even the GM mode in 2K24 is the best version of it. But for me personally, what I like from my wrestling games, it's a disaster. So I hate 2K24.
Fair enough. The fact they didn't fix it is actually disgraceful across the year. I will agree with you on that one. Jeff says, what do you guys think about a fatal four-way? Rollins, Cody, Roman. Roman's in it twice. I presume you mean Punk. But again, no McIntyre. So I'm fuming. But Cavcase K says, yes, SmackDown versus Raw 2011 was a banger. The first version of Universe Mode. I Make Beat says, Attitude N64 was his favorite. Numero 1 says his best games are 2K20 for all the wrong reasons, WrestleMania 18, SmackDown vs. Raw 2010, 2K22, and 2K23. Some good lists there. I don't know how 2K20's managed to get in, but we will just ignore that. But what we cannot ignore is the fantastic talent in the women's division in NXT, right? And this question is from @Shard Talks Graps, otherwise known as Shard, who of course isn't here this week. But congratulations to him, of course. But he is asking which NXT woman from the Rumble on Saturday will be the biggest star on the main roster. Now, I probably should have Googled everybody who was in the women's Rumble from NXT, shouldn't I? So obviously it was Roxanne Perez, Julia, Stephanie Vaquer, Jada Parker, Last Legend,
Jada Parker.
So 5.
Steph Vaquer, Julia.
Yeah, 5.
I think it's 5.
Perfect. There we are then. So I did know them all. I'm all good. But for me personally, I mean, I have been praising her for not months, for years now, pretty much, since I first saw her in Stardom a few years back, when it was a bit of a dark time for Stardom. And that is Julia. She is unbelievable. Probably one of, if not the best women's wrestlers in the world right now. I think the sky is the limit for her. Coby, I'll chuck this one to you first. Who are you going?
I thought your take wasn't done yet. You were saying, I think the sky's the limit for her, and then right into me. I mean,
yeah,
color me surprised. I don't.
On the hot spot,
Io Sky versus Julia. That's what I was leading to. There we are.
There we go. Well, yes, that'll be a good match. And of course, if I take my own personal callback, the original speed booking, I booked that match. Haha, Clark.
In speed. Sorry. I thought you meant you wanted it on WWE Speed. I was like, what's wrong with you?
No,
more than 90 seconds.
The inaugural speed booking that we did, that I won, and Clark's acting like never happened. But regardless, there's two kind of names that stand out. And I think Roxanne, I think, is one heck of a talent, but I don't know if she kind of falls into the same boat as someone like I'm gonna probably get a lot of hate of this, but Zelina Vega. Zelina Vega, to me, the one thing that kind of separates it is kind of her size, and I think there's kind of like a big she kind of struggles, I think, with some of the women. And she is a really good talent. She's a heck of a talent, and she deserves all the praise that she gets. But I think there's a reason why Zelina's not breaking out or getting at the top. The one to me that stands out and I think has the better look comparative to Julia, I think it's Stephanie Vaquer. I think she's the one that has the look. You got the horns. She has the presence, and I think she as a whole has the package slightly more than Julia. I think she has a total package that is better, or if I'm comparing, it's better, but I do think she's more of a total package than Julia at this point. But I do think Julia has 100% chance to be very successful.
I hate to agree with you, Coby, and I'm just hoping that they re-gimmick Julia at some point, because I think she can be, if they give her a proper gimmick, I think she'll be fine. But Stephanie Vaquer, I do agree, has been presented so well so far.
I would say so well so far, but I also think and I don't want to be comparatively to, but we look at kind of what we get with Rhea Ripley and what's made her so big is the goth, big strong mommy gimmick. Not that there's many parallels with Stephanie, but she has the parallels. She's strong. She has the dominant goth look. And I think there is a lot. I mean, we know what's going.
She's just got a gimmick, basically.
We can acknowledge what's going viral from her NXT matches, and that's the slamming of the head into the mat, and we know what's going viral, and I think that's where we can go. But I think she has more of a style that could fit and get. She could get. You're messing me up.
Dug yourself into a hole here, Coby. Deeper and deeper.
We need WWTV to release.
I think style wise, I think Vicaire can get more over.
I agree with you. I do agree with you.
They need to release like little hammers of bonking people on the head. Like stop it. Stop being entertained by this. It's not good for your mental health.
Shout out Tom Davis in the chat who's saying SmackDown versus Raw 2010, a great game, no doubt about it. Numero 1, Roxanne, Stephanie Vicaire, and Julia. Well, which one's going to be the biggest out of those three? I Make Beats says Roxy. Great shout, no doubt about it. And Kafka's case says Jada Parker. That's a great shout as well. But Soul, what's your shout?
If I'm going based on the evidence from the Rumble, it's clearly that WWE have put a lot of effort and thought into it and think, yeah, you're going to make it big. It's Roxanne Perez. A lot of people said she was the Women's Wrestler of the Year, tied with Toni Storm, and very rightly so. She was one of the best acts within NXT. Really carried the Women's Championship from that Stand and Deliver show until losing it to Julia. She went that distance. She's now the Iron Woman. Her statistics in the Royal Rumble until somebody else is able to smash it. So she has that history accolade now. So they've given her that accolade, which is not an accolade they give to a lot of people. They must have a lot of support behind her. Can she become a future champion on the brands? Absolutely. Can she become a future Elimination Chamber winner? Absolutely. Could she win the Royal Rumble in the future? I absolutely agree. I think Roxanne Perez is their future for the women's division. Somebody who's really going to get the rocket strapped to her and sent to the moon and become the true professional women's wrestler for the main roster of WWE. Of course, I really think so. And of course, you've got the likes of talents like Vicaire and Julia sitting in the wings in NXT. And I think really it is that factor of how long do you keep them in there? Because obviously there's people like Cora Jade, Nikita Lyons. There's people in NXT right now. And I think for the women's side, there is a big factor of how long do you keep them in there? How long do they stay on NXT until they are ready to be called up? Because you could call up Julia right now. You could call up Vicaire right now. Those two are ready in my mind.
Yeah, I do completely agree with you. I mean, pretty much you could have debuted either one of them on the main roster and they would have held their own. It was just like I always say, the little things such as camera work, stuff like that, and you get used to wrestling on TV.
I think that's kind of the biggest thing. When we talked about how a lot of people, or there's very few that go right to the main roster. When AJ Styles is going, I would have liked to learn at the PC. I mean that's just showing like how valuable it is to people who get to go to NXT, get their reps in for 6 months, a year, 2 years. However, it's going to be valuable regardless to whoever goes to NXT. But I think there is value when someone the caliber of AJ Styles is saying he would have wished to go to NXT for a bit.
I'd be really shocked if Grace honestly went to NXT. I don't see the reason why she would need to. She's done stuff with TNA. She knows how the camera works with hard cams and so why? Why is it somebody like Penta? Why is it somebody like Penta immediately goes to the main roster when someone like Grace doesn't? Yeah, but it doesn't even matter. You should you need women on the main roster. You can't just send all your women to NXT for some reason.
Well, no, you don't. They've got tons. But
how long has the Raw main event picture been Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan for?
Yeah, but that's nothing to do with numbers. That's just the way they wanted to do it.
Surrounding it. The thing that stands out to me is there were names that weren't even included in the Rumble from the main roster. Unholy Union weren't. Blair Davenport weren't. Katana Chance and Kaden Carter weren't. There's a lot of names that just weren't in the Rumble that were last year.
Casey didn't get to do her thing this year. She always does. The Kofi.
She exactly. She does.
That is.
But that's the thing. There's a lot of names that weren't even in it. The thing is there's only so many opportunities that we can't sit here and start going, well, yeah, we still need more women. in the main roster. Like
Yeah. It's just more
there's
time
tough.
and-
There's a lot of things to talk about. There's a lot
Yeah.
of discussions, and there's a
Absolutely.
lot of things that have to be said.
But I agree with you, Saul, too, in terms of it did just feel like the entire year the main event scene on Raw was Rhea versus Liv. And I love long-term stories as much as the next person, but
it was a logical long-term storytelling because you saw what happened, but it 100% dragged week to week. It got dull.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, but the also thing is Becky Lynch was gone. I mean, they were.
Oh, we spent a few months. Make someone.
Well, I mean, we were in the process of.
You expect Triple H to make more talent?
Turn Io Sky face. They were turning.
He does
Io
a good
Sky
job
face,
at that.
So
Don't start that.
You couldn't rush that.
I make beat says NXT because you've got to learn the hard cam for Jordan Grace. I mean, the thing is, she's done. The thing is, Jordan Grace has done work in NXT, of course, too.
The thing for NXT, well, she worked it what 5-6 times.
Yeah, but she was at the performance center training before those matches.
The one thing that stands out to me is I think a lot of people were putting eggs in the prediction that Stand and Deliver will be Julia Vicaire. But if Vicaire is going to win that NA title, I don't think that happens. And I don't know what happens because I think Roxanne and Cora is going to be a little mini feud before Roxanne eventually fully goes main roster. So I do think we need someone for Julia. And if Vicaire has a title, I don't know who goes there. Jordan Grace getting one shot, and I don't want to say it's essentially what they did with the War Raiders because the War Raiders had the tag titles and then just ended up going, we're going to vacate them.
I could see
but
that.
Grace having a one-off Stand and Deliver match with Julia, I mean, that works. That's what makes sense to me.
Final thing I'll say on this before we wrap up here, because we've done a lot of great stuff today, except Allison's predictions, which are always wrong. Sorry, bud.
The audacity.
Is this, with WWE Evolve, should NXT be considered a true third brand when you have a developmental, or do you need a developmental for a developmental situation? That's just something I wonder.
I think I'll put it in English football terms.
Has developmental tendencies.
Yeah, that's true. I'll put it in English football terms, right? You have the EFL, right, where you got League 2, League 1, and the Championship, and then you have the Premier League above that, right? But the Premier League's kind of separated. NXT is the Championship. Below that are all the other developmental brands, and I think so. Yes, I still think it's
I don't need 12. I don't need 12 developmental brands. Come on now.
They're going to do it. Have you seen my video from earlier on, Saul? Because if you haven't, this is a great plug.
I've seen it and I completely disagree with it.
Wow. Why?
Well, we've wrapped out of time here, folks. Thank you for tuning in.
I guess we're going to need to talk about this next time for sure. But I mean, no, it is fascinating. If you've not seen my video, by the way, let me know your thoughts on it. It's on the Wrestling Public YouTube channel in the comments. But it's about basically the state of wrestling and how I believe Triple H is planning to just not Triple H, WWE is planning to basically expand globally through independent promotions, which I do think is a smart move, but there's positives and negatives to it. But thank you to Soul. Thank you. I'm doing it the wrong way. Thank you to Soul. Thank you to Coby. We will be back same time, same place tomorrow. And thank you to everybody who's commented today. We really do appreciate it on Instagram, on YouTube, on Twitch, on Facebook, all of the platforms. And we will see you same time, same place tomorrow. Thank you, guys.